Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Refinement / the Reseller Podcast Mentorship. This is day number 9. Just want to let people know tomorrow I will not be hosting the call because it's my grandma's funeral, so will not be coming tomorrow. But we will resume next week, and I have some homework for everybody. So the homework is I want everyone this weekend to figure out their hourly rate. And this is important because essentially when you are a seller on eBay, you are a 1099 contractor, essentially. Hold on one second. Close my windows. Okay. So typically when you're a 1099 contractor, in my opinion, you should aim for $50 an hour minimum. Because normally when you're a 1099 contractor, you don't know when your hours are. You don't know when you're working. You do it when you can. Maybe it's a side project. That's how 99% of people treat eBay. So when you can figure out your hourly, and then you sort of change your mindset from 1099 employee to, let's say, maybe business owner, or you treat it really seriously and you want to become an eBay professional, which I would consider 100 grand and over in profit. And the reason why I set the number at that is because typically when you get an MBA, you're looking to get a job that's $100,000 or more a year. When you go to get a CPA, or when you get a law degree or a med school, you're not doing that to make 60 to 80 grand a year. You're doing it to make 100 grand or more. So everyone here, the goal, the magic number is at least 30 sales a day. 30 sales a day times $10 profit is $300 a day. That would be me considering you an eBay professional. Okay, this is somebody that makes $100,000 a year or more. Anything less than 30 a day is fine. You're still doing eBay, but I wouldn't consider that professional level or higher. Okay, so now let's talk about one more level higher than that, which I would be considered like maybe a business owner. And I have a pretty good analogy for you guys. In my storage unit, it's a commercial unit. I'd say 80% of the people who work in my unit they own their own company of some kind. It's usually a plumber, an HVAC person. A really, really popular company here is Erection Services. They fix fences and gates and garage doors. Those companies kill it. Okay, so one of those guys was telling me that for him to open a new team, the team needs to do $2,000 a day in sales. And I think that is right on the money. So for somebody like Hannah, right, who aims to get to the point of $250,000 or higher, that's like usually the top percentile of the people who do this. That's like around $2,000 a day minimum. So that's a good number to shoot for, and you should build your business around that number. So those people who run those services, they need to bill a certain amount in order to get a new team. And that's essentially what we're doing right now is we're building the first team. The first team is you. Okay, so $100, 100 items times $20 plus shipping. You could do that yourself, right? And that's going to be Hannah doing it, making that kind of income all on her own. But that's going to be difficult to sustain. So essentially what she's trying to do now is master her one plan, then replace herself with somebody that does the exact same thing. Also, I realize now after thinking about this, I probably am the only reseller channel talking about this, like actually trying to build a business, not just figuring out how to sell stuff for a profit. That's just arbitrage. You find something that's worth 5, or that you pay 5 and it's worth 20. That's not what this channel is about. There's a lot more to running a business, like accounting, business setup. Most of it is scheduling, time management. Also, this morning in the 6 a.m. call, somebody mentioned that if your personal life's not in order, you can't do eBay. I 100% agree with that. It has to be set up. You have to know what you're going to do outside of work. Otherwise, a personal matter can take the whole day. It can take 5 hours. It can take 10 hours. It could take several weeks. It's totally destructive. So it's all related. You got to have everything, all your ducks in a row. So your hourly rate's really important. In the calculator I gave everybody at bit.ly/weekly listings, it goes in there. At the base level, you're making $25 an hour. At the maximum level, you're making $200 an hour. So that's the highest I've seen. It's $200 an hour. That's how much money tech does doing this. So between $25 and $200 an hour depends on how efficient your systems are. And the biggest hacks are the post office picks up from your house. That's a huge one. So you don't have to go. That saves you a ton of time. Sourcing coming to you, which is the most difficult part of reselling, but that's from reputation. Once you start being known as the person that does that in your area, stuff starts coming to you. Those are the two biggest hacks. Each one of those is like $25 an hour plus. Like if you know what you're doing and you go out and thrift and you're making $25 an hour, which is about 1,000 per week, and all of a sudden you don't need to go thrifting anymore and the stuff comes to you and you use that time just to list, it goes way up. So the big time savings are, make sure you get a post office pickup. Make sure that you learn to become known for what you sell. And that can take years. It can take a while. So don't be patient. And then the photography and listing part is just practice. I think that the dead giveaway is if your listing is faster than your photography. That's the dead ringer if you're a pro at listing. If you can't list faster than you photograph, you're not niche down enough. You're spending too much time researching, pricing. That's the hard part. So everyone's homework for the next 3 days is to figure out what is your hourly rate? How long does it take you to sort things? We've already put the order in that spreadsheet for you guys. Essentially, you want to do customer service first, then shipping. Then if you're going to do your sourcing, you do it then. You can do your sourcing actually anytime during the day. And then photograph listing. Then at the end of the day, you prepare your listings for the next day. This morning, if you guys are in the call, this lady Sally showed her workspace and she has a list next pile. That's brilliant. If you have your list next pile set up the day before, you'll kill it. You'll wake up, you'll grab that pile, photograph it, list it. Your day will be awesome. If you don't have that, you'll already be scrambling. So as an example, right now, since I'm running live auctions and not eBay, our auctions are already set up for tomorrow. They're already set up for Saturday. They're already set up for Sunday. And my list next pile is 6 weeks long. I don't even have to go to work for 6 more weeks because all the inventory is lined up and they already know what to do. So that's the process where I want to talk about this one part, which is really, really, really important. The draft bank, right, is a really good indicator of how healthy your business is because it's essentially a reseller savings account. And the number one indicator, do you guys know what's the number one indicator that you'll be rich? What do you think is the number one indicator that somebody will be rich in their lifetime? Net worth over $1 million. It's not dedication. What's the one habit that makes people rich over time? Consistency is part of it. Yeah, that's right. Arwen, you nailed it. It's a high savings rate. A high savings rate is actually how people get rich. It's not high income. The average millionaire only makes $70,000 a year, which to put into perspective for you guys, that is $200. That's about 20 listings a day. The average millionaire in America, if they're running an eBay store, they only do 20 listings a day. That's not much, right? It's just that they have a high savings rate, so they live way below their means. So relating that to eBay, this is so freaking massive. If you have a big draft bank, that's the same thing because you're planning ahead. If you have a 10-a-day listing habit and you have 140 listings in your draft bank, that means you're planning in case 14 days goes by where you can't work. And that's really unlikely that 14 days will go by that you're not ahead. But imagine you have supply for weeks. You have everything ready to go next. There's nothing on the floor. All your spaces are super clean. That's all prep work. That's essentially a savings account. When you are listing above your capacity, this is what it looks like. You have items that are photographed but not listed. You have items that are listed but not put away. You have orders that are pending shipping, but you couldn't find the item, so you didn't ship it yet. You have only 2 days of inventory. So in case something happens, you have to scramble and go find it. You don't have the right shipping supplies. That's essentially like spending more than you earn. Because you're just right at that paycheck to paycheck reseller level. So I think the key is learning how to develop that draft bank. That's where it all starts because you're planning ahead. So when you plan ahead, that's all the secrets of doing well on eBay start with planning ahead. Thinking about doing this for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. No one would think this. No one told me when I was younger that the key to being rich was a high savings rate. I heard high income. You want to be rich? High income. That's not necessary though. All you have to do is save half and put half of it into your. I thought it was a joke. When I used to work for Lexus, and I had all these self-help books on my desk. And the guy said, Chris, what are you trying to do with all these books? I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how to get rich. And he's like, bro, it's really easy. Just save 70% of your income and invest it. And I thought it was a joke. I didn't think it was possible to save 70% of your income. But it is. People live they live super duper below their means in the beginning to get to a point where it snowballs. So one more thought, then I'll start asking some questions, which is there's been a lot of talk recently about FIRE, which is like, when do I get to the point where I can retire early and enjoy my life and not have to work all the time? And in the morning call, people were mentioning that's when it starts to get really good. So I'm just going to give you guys an example. Let's say Hannah starts crushing it. She's got 2 employees. They both list 105 items a day. So she's got 210 new listings going into the eBay business every single day. She's got 4 or 5 people bringing her supply, right? Now she's making $250,000 a year reselling. She's not going to retire. No one does that. The people who make it don't retire because it's awesome. All of the fun happens once you start getting 30 sales a day. So it's like the opposite of what people think, like, oh, I'm hoping that I don't have to work one day. The real thing is that you want to get good at your job. If you get great at your job, it's fun. I don't know anybody I think people say I work a lot. I think I'm having maybe the most fun. It's fun to have a lot of sales. So I want people to think this retire early thing, be patient. If you spend 5 to 10 years getting good at reselling, you'll be unstoppable. You'll be unstoppable because there's just so many people who don't put the time in to get great at it. But you guys are way ahead of the curve being in this group because it's very different. Sorry, I had an incoming call. Hold on, I'm gonna send one text. But let's go to Ben first. Ben, what do you think your hourly is?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I think it's about 30, but I'm estimating pretty high. Probably cut that in half to 15 because we're 2 people. So 15 per hour because we do 8 hours a day. Sorry about that. I'm outside today.
No worries.
Yeah, so that would be where, I mean, I can share more details, I guess, but like 8 hours of investment every day between 2 people, but our daily income is on average about 300. So my math might be a little wrong there.
No, that's okay. And I also want people to realize that in the beginning, your hourly is going to be really low because you are still learning how to do everything. And in the later times when people start helping you, your hourly goes really high. So in the beginning, when you're setting it up, like when you set up your photo station, you're making $0 an hour because it's all the time and no money yet. So thinking about it hourly is really important. If you're like tech, which is a little bit of a smarter way of looking at it, you think about it, on a 24-hour scale because your eBay store is always open. And you have to think about this. Okay, I want you guys to think bigger because having an eBay store is a pain in the ass. It's 24/7. People can be pinging you, asking you questions. So like, this is what I think. For God's sake, please make $100,000 or more. Otherwise, it's not worth it. It's like a lot of work. So let's all aim for 30 a day minimum in sales and listing, and start optimizing our stores to get there. Um, so our podcast that we released yesterday, just talking about the one piece I think everyone in the group needs to work on a little bit more. And it's the biggest flaw I see in everyone's business, which is not spending enough time sourcing. That's really where people underestimate how hard reselling is. So that's really holding some people back, because in the plan that I set up for you guys, 20 hours of the week is sourcing. 20 hours is becoming an expert in your niche, narrowing it down, building supply lists, networking. The other half is the processing part. So I want people to schedule that in. If you're not scheduling time to meet people, to develop your sourcing route, you can also do it in silence and not meet anybody, as long as you have a deep enough route. But I think for Brittany, she needs to lower her cost of goods, figure out someone to shop with the bins for her. I am training a new bin shopper this Sunday. So she's going to go out, bring me back all the stuff that she finds. She has a great style and a great idea of all the brands. So I'm like, okay, let's just test how it is so far. You go get all of it, bring it in, and I'll train you over time to bring me exactly what I'm looking for. So go ahead, Brittany.
So obviously I don't live, my closest bins is 7.5 hours away where I used to go. How do you go about like hiring somebody to do that? Do I like post some sort of ad? Do I go there and talk to people? Cause like, I feel like the people, I mean, I see the exact same people every single time. And I don't know. I mean, they're there every single day, no matter what day I show up. And I don't know, like if they would be interested in it. I mean, they're not the friendliest people.
They're definitely not the friendliest people. I would say that the best way to network with people at the bins is definitely Instagram.
Okay.
What you want to do is find somebody who loves going to the bins every day and doesn't like to list.
Yes.
Or they love listing 10 really nice pieces and they pass on everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, the best buyer would be a men's vintage guy.
Right.
Because he finds all the stuff you're looking for and leaves it there.
Yeah. And I don't have any interest in the stuff that he wants.
Exactly. So that would be the ideal person.
Right. And then you were saying that you have them purchase it, and then you buy like a certain price per item, and then you go through it and only take what you want. And that kind of like trains them not to bring you junk.
And I have one fully trained. I have one fully trained already. She uses my company credit card. So it has a limit of X amount of money on it per week. She uses it to buy the stuff at Goodwill, and I pay her per piece. I pay her $1 a piece. So she's sourcing 500 pieces from me a week, and she ships it to me. So that's like, it's a little bit cheaper. It's like a little bit more expensive than me getting it locally, but her bins is cheaper. So I think eventually maybe in this group we'll have, if people are clothing sellers, maybe we will get a team of people who shop at the bins and just sell it within the group. I'm cool with that. The only problem is I can't vet the person for you. So like you have to find somebody that's reliable. But in this scenario, she's using my credit card, so she doesn't have to front her own money. Mm-hmm. And as soon as she puts it in the mail, I'll pay her. Okay. So she is already fully trained. Every single item I get is good. The new girl on Sunday, she doesn't have any idea what I'm looking. She came to the store already and looked through the stuff in person. Mm-hmm. It was easier when I had an eBay store because I could say, just look through my eBay store.
Yeah.
So in this scenario, you need to be creative because you're 7.5 hours from the bins. I live a couple of hours from 5 different Goodwill bins.
Wow. Okay.
So there's like there's 5 different Goodwill bins here, and they're all extremely aggressive. I don't even like, every single person is nasty. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah.
So very difficult to actually meet the right person, but I think that Instagram is the way to go. Figure out who shops at those bins, and You only need one person to change your life because one person can get 500 pieces a week.
Okay.
Easily. Yeah. Let's see. Anybody else have their hand raised? Let me look at this real quick. Okay, let me let chat in. All right. So meaningful work is what keeps you alive. Yeah, okay, that's a great point. So meaningful work, in my opinion, is related to how much value you provide. So if you're happy selling one corn dog to one person on the corner, and that's the value you want to bring, that's great. But some people want to sell millions of corn dogs. So it just depends on what kind of value you're looking to deliver. And I think the more meaning comes from just doing a better job. When you do a great job on eBay, you actually even get a feedback from somebody saying, awesome, thank you so much. Fast shipping, exactly what I wanted. So that value is clear. Okay. Let's see. So the homework for this week is to figure out the hourly. NC, Ashley in the group, is offering her services to help people find stuff. I'm totally cool with that. But I can't vet Ashley's stuff, and you can't post that in the group. So you're welcome to network, find somebody who lives somewhere and then ask them, but we can't have you post it in the group because we can't check. There's too many people who can scam you with wholesale. So just be careful. It is dangerous. The one-on-one relationship is the key. That's one of the biggest hacks. Thank you, Hannah. Let's go with Angela. Angela, good morning. Are you doing the listings after the call?
Yes, I have been able to do the listings. It's a little bit more difficult before, like in the mornings to do it, but my evenings are better. Like after the call, afternoon and evenings are better for me to list.
Why is that?
I don't like I have a schedule, but for some reason the mornings, I don't know, my mornings get all over the place. So I don't know. I don't know. To be like after this call, like I focus on like all eBay stuff, and like even yesterday when we had left the I guess the Zoom open, you know, it was easier for me to focus, I guess, after talking about it, or I don't know, like maybe I'm in a zone after just being like conversations floating around about it, but in the mornings is I don't know. To be honest, I don't know.
Okay. I would say that a lot of people, like in the morning call, is 122 people on average a day. I think a lot of people use it as an anchor for their day. So either before or after they get their eBay work done, and it helps you organize your day and set it up. But I think these hard stops throughout the day are really, really important. Because like you don't want to work all day. You want to be able to stop at a certain point, and you want to have, this is also something, it's like a cheat code. You need to have something to look forward to. A lot of people don't have anything to look forward to. Got to set up your week so that there's some kind of reward that's worth it for you. Otherwise, why even do it? Like, Hannah, what's up?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Like, I almost like bribe myself. Like, I'll bribe myself in the morning. Like, I'm not allowed to have my coffee, which is my favorite thing in the morning, until I have gotten on my computer and listed my 10 items.
That's a great way to do it.
And so it makes me get my listing done. But I mean, I think it's just one of those things where like you have to like know yourself, like what will motivate you, and then make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And the greatest gift is being able to live life on your own terms. And that is the highest, be willing to pay the highest price for that, which is like, you got to crush all day. Like, there's no like, oh, it's easy for you to say you don't care about your family. That's not true. You can't crush if you don't care about your family. It's all like related, because the people who don't take care of their family and health, they burn out. Maybe temporary success, but like, look at the people. This is, I mean, not to talk bad on any other YouTube channels, But like, I've been reselling for a long time, and I learned how to resell from other YouTubers, and like they haven't improved in 5 years. They're the exact same reseller as before. As long as you make little improvements over the course of 5 years, I went from $1,000 a week to, I think if I really push it, I can make $10,000 a week reselling now. That's just 5 years of different learning little tiny things here and there on how to improve my schedule. And what Angela was talking about, which is like the morning getting away from you. My day can only get away from me for a few minutes because the next thing is scheduled ahead. I can only be squirrely for a minute because the next appointment's coming and they're expecting me to be on the ball. So like it's really, really nice having people depend on you to a degree, because you just gotta be organized, you gotta be there, you gotta be thinking. But 30 a day, I think, is the perfect mental place to be, because all the excuses go away at 30 a day because you just focus a lot better. Does anybody have any questions this morning? Let's see. London said she would die without her coffee. I mean, I love coffee. I used to do that, but then I decided I didn't want that anymore. I used to launch my drafts and then have my coffee, but then I decided that's not a life worth living. So now I have my coffee, then do my drafts. It's fine. You don't have, as long as you still do it, you don't have to torture yourself like that, but that is a good way to do it. I always thought, like, if the bathroom door in the morning didn't open until I already finished the workout, I would have always completed my workout. But apparently there's a English cartoon about that. Let me see. Ashley says what's meaningful is different for everyone. That's true, but usually providing more value to more people is more meaningful than providing less value to less people, from what I've seen. The people who provide a large amount of value to a large amount of people usually are pretty happy. It just goes hand in hand. If you want to be more happy, give more. That usually works. London's saying she wants to talk about the way to properly launch a draft. Okay, this is great. And Tech actually gave me a really good secret with this. When we were talking about listing fast, he was saying that he knows exactly where on the screen his mouse needs to be because he's been doing it for so long. And also, if you look at his computer, certain parts of his keyboard are worn out, like the space bar and the shift key from capitalizing words, because eBay recommends capitalized case for the titles. So when he told me that he knows on the screen where all the different places are, that unlocked it for me, because I was like, wow, he's had a lot of practice. He knows where everything in the screen is. And he said, I'll always be the best at eBay because I've launched the most drafts. I know the eBay listings perfectly. And so that really helped me understand the best way to launch a draft is to practice what things you need to change. So look through the title. If your VA builds drafts for you, like Bethany, essentially what I would do is I would check the title to see if it's in the right order that I want it to be. I would check if it has the right keywords, because if Bethany is an expert, she should be able to add 1 or 2 words that the VA wouldn't know in the title. Scroll down, make sure that the profile picture is the right one, because sometimes pictures are out of order. Make sure the custom SKU is right if that's something that you do. Scroll a little bit more. Now you're in your condition description. If you can and you want maximum results, you would have a one-liner condition description on eBay that really describes the item. If you put see pictures, that's not maximum results. It'll be fine, but you wouldn't get the most sales as somebody accurately describing that, because that shows up on eBay mobile. So when you guys are trying to optimize for sales, the condition description shows up on eBay mobile, but the description does not. They have to click on it in order to see the description. Okay, so once you're done with condition description, scroll down to item specifics. Most important one is brand. Brand has to be right. And I think I bet if I went through Bethany's store right now, there would be just a couple that don't have the right brand. That just happens on accident with virtual assistants generally. Maybe they're all right, but that's the main one that I would look at is the brand. Then make sure as many item specifics are as right as possible. Then scroll down, adjust the price. I recommend pricing a little bit under market or at market. And then if your business policies are the same, I would do shipping, payment, return policy the same. I would scroll to the bottom and hit launch if you're launching, or save if you're saving the draft. And if you do that when you're doing the drafts, then you can actually you can launch multiple drafts at the same time if they're already done. But if you're having somebody else draft for you, then you would just be double checking and you would be launching. So from my experience, if you have somebody helping you photograph and list, then they are only saving the draft. So they never make any mistakes and you are only launching. So that way, both people only have one role and it's really clear. And yeah, the only thing that I wonder about is with Bethany having so many sales on Poshmark. I don't think it's safe for me to say just turn off Poshmark and just go straight eBay. That's too dangerous right now. London?
Yeah, so my question and the reason why I haven't utilized the draft bank yet is because I've heard several people say that like your drafts can mysteriously disappear. And that really scares me, or like that there's a limit of drafts you can have. And you can only have them X amount of weeks. And that just seems really dangerous to me. But you can schedule listings for, what is it, like 10 cents a listing or something?
So all the rules are you can schedule a listing for 10 cents up to 21 days. So you can schedule all your listings to be 21 days ahead and have nothing in your drafts, which is the safest way to do it. Drafts expire after 30 days. The pictures will go missing because eBay won't store your pictures anymore. And there's a limit of 3,000 listing drafts on desktop, but it will only show the most recent 1,000. After 1,000, they are hidden. And on mobile, I believe there's only either 50 or 75 drafts on mobile. So it's different. They will start disappearing earlier than that. So my recommendation is do not let drafts get older than 2 weeks. You do not want it to get anywhere near 1 month expiring because that's an expensive lesson. Yeah.
So with what you just said with the desktop version, how you can have up to 3,000, but only 1,000 of them show up. Can you go into that a little bit more?
It will only show the 1,000 most recent drafts. So you'll have to click the date created. If you turn it to oldest, then it will show the 1,000 oldest. If you click the most recent, it will show the 1,000 newest. And there's not an easy way to get to the middle 1,000, but I don't recommend having 3,000 drafts anyway. That's too much. I would keep your drafts under 1,000 and less than 2 weeks old. And most people don't need a 1,000 draft bank for 2 weeks. So try to stay under that amount and don't let them expire. So my recommendation is either schedule all your listings, the 10 cents is fine. Or do the draft bank and launch at the same time every morning, right before your coffee or right after your coffee if you're like me. I don't want to start my day with something negative. Have a cup of coffee and then get into it. It's fine. Also, the routine is key. Whatever you do and you end up doing it over time, it ends up being fine. You don't have to worry about meditation or journaling or walking around the block. All that stuff doesn't matter as much as like the habit stack that you have. So I think it's important. Another thing I wanted to mention about Sally's setup this morning is she had stations for everything. This station is prep. This station's listing. This station's photography. This station is supplies. This station is stuff that's going to be listed next. This stuff I haven't sorted yet. This stuff not in my category. Squirrel pile. And I like that designation. And she actually had a curtain in front of her prep center because she doesn't like how messy her prep area looks. So she hid it behind a curtain. So that's a really cool way of handling it. Lenny?
Sorry, one more question. So I think within the next month or so, I want to hire someone to do my photos. What are the first two questions you ask someone who is applying to be your photographer?
Okay, great. So I recommend, please do this. Have them do the photography and the listing for you. So if they have 4 hours, aim for 40 to 50 listings for 4 hours. So like 10 to 15 listings an hour would be what I would hire somebody to do, start to finish. And the number one thing for me is if they have quick serve experience at a restaurant. Any Starbucks employee will crush eBay because it's the same thing. If they have quick serve industry, that's great. I thought that if they were named Christine, that would be awesome because I have 2 Christines that are excellent, but then the third Christine was horrible. So that's not a good measure. Quick serve is really important. And then can they follow directions? So I have like, and the way that I did that was I put respond to this ad with instructions. And the people who didn't respond to the ad properly, I just eliminated right from the beginning. So make it like a 2 or 3 step test. And what you can do is show them a sample of the photos, and then you can Zoom call them and interview them and have them do it on their bed. These are the photos that I want. Let's have you do it on Zoom on your bed, so that because I want to check your dexterity with the phone or camera, because that's important. And it's not age specific. Some people are not dexterous with their hands and they're going to be slower. Okay, so you can Zoom interview them at home for free and see if they can do it. And if they're willing to do that, then they're already solid because they understand that part. And then typing wise, I do typingtest.com. I like 40 words a minute or higher. They can type 40 words a minute or faster, and they can take photographs on their bed in the exact same sequence as yours. And you can put that in the ad. These are what my photos look like. During the Zoom interview, you're going to do this on your bed. And the proper candidate will prep and they'll nail it. It'll look exactly like your pictures there. Then I actually included a link to me doing it on YouTube, which is private. So I filmed myself photographing it, and I put, this is literally the job. This until you're done photographing, and then we immediately list after. So when you go with, if you want to go pro with reselling, you're going to list right after you take your photos. So that's what I want. Don't hire someone to only do photos. Don't hire someone to only do listings, because if the same person does both, the quality goes way up and it's way faster, and they remember all the defects, and it's excellent. So then with the listing, what I recommend is you either do templates that are blank in the category. So for example, if I was hiring Arwen's shoe lister, what I would do is say, okay, we take 12 shoe photos in this order, always the same. Okay, so you're going to come, I'll do it first. I'll take 12 photos, and then we're going to build the listing together. Let me pull up the Arwen shoe template. It's going to pop up. The title is going to be, the way I do it, blank. So then I would write Nike, blah, blah, blah. This is the words that we use for the title. This is our custom SKU. You're going to enter in the custom SKU. This goes on the box. We're going to scroll down. You're going to drag the photos that you just took into the listing. We're going to scroll down. You're now going to adjust all these item specifics. But if you do the title correctly, it'll populate 90% of the item specifics for you. You're going to double check to make sure that's okay. Scroll down. You're going to change the first sentence of the template of the description saying, this is a Nike pair of cleats that's orange and brown, size 13. Scroll down a little bit more, adjust the pricing, scroll down, hit save. I would do that, then have them do it. Then I would do it, I would have them do it. And if they've worked at a quick serve restaurant before, they will kill it. if they can just watch you do it and then they do it and you watch them and give them feedback, then it's going to be crazy. So I'm going to what's it called, FlipCon at the end of the summer, Harry Tornado's event, and I'm going to do that in the hotel room. I'm going to have 10 people watch me list 30 items in an hour on somebody else's eBay account, since I can't list on eBay. And you guys can watch because I think that's huge, being able to watch somebody do it in person. It's cool watching it on video, but if your worker can see you do it, they will crush it. Because it's so annoying when your boss can't do it. Because I see that all the time. People will hire, will you take the photos for me? Okay, thanks, bye. And the photos will not be right. And they won't like you or respect you.
So I have another wacky question.
Okay.
So when I was on eBay the other day, just like on my main screen, I saw this thing that eBay was doing a $10,000 grant for small sellers if you fit certain criteria. So I applied for that. And then I got to thinking, I wonder how else, like if I get lucky, if I win, how many other ways could I like conjure up to pay my employees at no cost to me, right? Just maybe apply for like 100 grants or that. I just got thinking like, how could I hire someone and not have to like pay for it out of my pocket, you know?
There's plenty of grants for that. There's so many opportunities now for different types of people to get different types of grants. There's tons of grants for women, tons of grants for minorities, tons of grants for female entrepreneurs in general, entrepreneurs with kids. There's so many grants out there. So I think that's not a bad idea to apply for some of those, but I think there's also subsidies that the state will give you. The state will give you money if you hire ex-felons or refugees. There's so many different things that offset. But the main thing for me is just the employee will pay for themselves, even if you pay above market, as long as they're listing 15 listings an hour. Because here's the thing, 15 listings an hour at $10 profit is $150. You have enough room to pay them anything. If they don't make any mistakes, anyone can afford an employee. The only thing you can't afford is someone that's making mistakes. That's why I don't recommend a virtual assistant, because they are cheap, but in person, there's a lot less mistakes and it's actually a lot faster, not having to transfer photos, not having to go back and double check. So if you wanted somebody to cross list for you, you can still do it in person. Have them list all the items for you. And then when you launch the drafts, you double check the drafts, just have them use list perfectly, or have your VA use list perfectly. Once you've already listed, have your in-person person do all the drafts, you launch all the drafts, then have your VA list perfectly. And since Poshmark and Mercari and all the other sites are less strict with account health, like you can always double sell on Poshmark and cancel Poshmark and keep your defect rate low on eBay. And I recommend the in-person does both. And the grants are great, but honestly, you want reliable. And sometimes when you pick people who are free or cheaper, that's why I would never hire my cousin or my aunt or my friend, or because it's not permanent. Like I would love to show them how eBay works, but I wouldn't hire them because they're temporary. I want forever employees. My old boss used to say married and buried. Hire people who are married and have tons of debt, because they'll work for you forever. As sad as that sounds, that was how he built a 10-figure business. So this is what my old boss would do. He would overpay people who had tons of debt. They would never leave. Like, he was always trying to convince me to spend more money. Until he decided that he wanted me to be successful. Then he's like, you need to quit and start your own thing. In 2014, my old boss said, you need to quit. You'll struggle for 10 to 20 years. That's fine. You're still young. And then you'll be fine. So you don't want to be here. It's golden handcuffs. You'll be doing this forever. So I left my sales job. But as far as hiring goes, the way that you want to do it is you do it, they do it, you do it, they do it for the first half a day, and they should be able to do it exactly like you after the first 4 hours. It doesn't even take that long. It takes only a few minutes if they can watch you do it. I've never had Bojangles fried chicken, but apparently they do it that way too. Like they make the fried chicken, you watch them, then you make the fried chicken and they watch you. That's it. They don't have a fancy employee manual or anything. Wasey?
Hi. Yeah, so I decided I want to niche down. I really want to take advantage of this group.
Yep.
And I don't know for sure if but I think I'm getting enough clothing. I think I can make that work. So I just want to give that a shot. So my question is, I'm just going to put away all these collectibles I got, box them up for now. But like the old stuff in the store, like, do I need to, like, to really take advantage of this? Do I need to like delist, or should I let that stuff sell out?
That stuff's just extra credit.
Just let it sell out then. Okay. And then my other question is, like, are shoes,
You can even add,
are shoes too far from clothing? Like, cause I'm getting a little bit of shoes here and there. I have like half a dozen pairs of shoes I could list. Is that like detrimental to growing the clothing, listing shoes once in a while, or
no,
should I cut those out?
it's all extra credit. So let's
Okay.
say you have a 10-a-day listing goal and you want to list one video game, one pair of shoes, and one umbrella after that. I have no problem with that.
Okay.
It just doesn't count part of your 10.
Mm.
So some people will try to in 10. Like there was a person in our group that was not, like, didn't get it. And they're like, well, I'll just list 10 vacuum cleaner parts today because I don't want to go sourcing clothing. That doesn't work because you're confusing eBay. So it doesn't confuse eBay that you once in a while have something random. It's the bulk part of it that's important. So if you have a 10-a-day listing habit with clothing, I would do the shoes. Everyone has extra. I have extra items that are not clothing.
Okay.
I just do it after. So that way you can keep your habit and keep it going. And if you really have squirrel brain, like hopefully mine is dead now, but sometimes if I want to do something interesting, I'll do it at the end.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And niching down is amazing. Yeah.
I went to I found like some good deals on like Cabbage Patch dolls and like trains at this garage sale. And as soon as I bought them, I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Now I got to research 2 totally different things when I'm just trying to figure out clothing right now, you know? So it was kind of a mistake.
Yeah. The best answer is I'm not set up for that. If you tell yourself that, see something amazing. Oh, I'm not set up for that. Okay, cool. Like you can give yourself the excuse not to buy it.
Yeah,
like that's great.
That makes sense.
That's profitable, but I'm not set up for that. Because there's so many things that, and it's really confusing. So, and at a garage sale, I also want to point out that in the beginning, it's okay to be a completely everything seller. You just have to have enough space. 30 a day, everything seller is fine. It's just a little bit more challenging, and you don't, you never become known as the everything seller, except for like people will think you're unemployed and they'll drop off all their stuff when they're moving. I don't want people dropping off all their stuff when they're moving. I want people bringing me 100 of the same thing. That's how you make thousands of dollars an hour, not looking through your friend who's moving and giving you all their stuff. It sounds good. Maybe even if you got it for free, it sounds good. But imagine somebody giving you 100 jackets that are all similar and easy to list. Or, Arwen finds a local store like TKMax, and the manager's like, hey, we've got X amount of items coming in every Tuesday. Can you be here on Tuesday? That's way easier, having it all be exactly the same. So you become known for whatever you do. And if you're known as an everything seller, honestly, people think you're unemployed. It's like if you want people to bother you, tell them that you sell everything.
Mhm.
As you get more advanced into this, it's interesting, right? You say you only sell one thing, people don't bother you. Arwen says they're so rude here. Yeah, you might have to cheat and work there. There's two people in the group that got a job temporarily at TKMax here in the States, figured out all the people that work there, figured out all the scheduling for the inventory, and then quit. Totally worth it. The one that's nearest your house, that's the way to do it. If you have, I mean, this is like advanced eBay, but if you have people in the inventory room on the take, that's the best way to do this. It's so much easier. They tell you what's available and when and how many they have. Like there's Daniel in the group, his wife works for the Disney employee store. This is like total BS because she's like, yo, we're getting in these 30 SKUs and 15 of each. You want to look them up on eBay? That's such a cheat code. Because like he knows how many there are. He knows when they're releasing. He can look them up before the store is open. That's like cheating, really. That's like almost too easy. So you want to make this as easy as possible, and it becomes your reputation is the key. Reputation is key to charging more. I can charge more for eBay consulting than Arwen just because I've been known for it for a longer time. Arwen, what's up?
Hi there. I just wanted to say one thing. So basically, when you was mentioning about the draft banks, I've just been doing something for the last couple of months, which has been helping me massively, which is the first thing I do in the morning is basically select the 15 items I'm going to do on my store, launch them. And I know it sounds very, very silly, but on your head, it just goes like you sort of like done for the day. And then everything after that is sort of like plus for the next day. So maybe if someone wants to try that, I don't know, it really helped me because you don't go and you don't face the day with that much stress anymore, if that makes sense.
That 100% works. Also, I'm going to give you guys a super hack that I never talk about. So Tech, he's been listing consistently for 13 years, right? You know what he does when he finishes his listings? He does this. He stretches his arms. Just like as a like victory dance that he finished his listings for the day. Sounds silly, but like he wants to be able to do that every day. He wants to win. And the earlier in the day you do it, I mean, maybe it's because he played baseball before and athletes are sometimes superstitious. I think it's good to have a little tick or a little thing like that you do, especially if you can get it done in the morning. Wake up and knock out your listings. That's crazy. You've already accomplished more than 99% of people and you just woke up. Let me tell you guys how crazy this is. The average reseller only does $2,000 a month gross full time because they're so disorganized. Like the way that they organize their days, it's crazy how little people need to live. But in this group, we're talking about doing $2,000 a day. Everyone is going to be doing what normal people do in a month and a day. That's how efficient I want everyone to be. Let's see. I have to end the call 1 minute early today because I have to start the accounting call. In our mentorship group, we also have Cheryl, who's an accountant that helps people set up their books. So I can try my best, but I'm not an accountant like she is. But hourly, that's everyone's homework. Think about how much you're making each hour. Let's see here. You feel the peer pressure to be in everything sorry for your goodwill friends. Yeah, I'm absolutely not. I don't feel the pressure anymore. I love people who bring me 500 things that are exactly the same. It's like so awesome. And what you can do is you can get a network of goodwill friends that niche down. Maybe we can change the world together and everybody who becomes a goodwill shopper can just share. You find a really cool teddy bear, give it to your plush friend, right? Find a really cool dish set, call your glassware girl. And you don't have to deal with it. And just, I saw somebody, I hate glassware. I always tell people that when you have a glassware store, just set your store on fire and start a different category, because who wants to ship that? There's a guy I saw, it's crazy. He's like $50,000 a month, all glassware. I can't believe, like, it, to me, that's so insane to me that he can ship a glass
Really?
globe perfectly and it doesn't break.
Bottom 180.
It is amazing.
I already went back. I already replied to him. I said, no problem. It's a bit too low. So
All right. Well, everybody have an awesome weekend. Figure out your hourly rate. I'll see you guys on Monday. Take care.